to embody my emotions, to embody my fears, my angers, my sorrows, my joy, my compassion, to embody my mind, to move into a place of knowing and not thinking, a place of intuitive grace. That is where all creativity comes from.
The intuitive grace, that is where all creativity comes from. Such beautiful, wise, and true words. As I am ending my day, this Sunday night, reflecting on the class this morning and the words that are spoken, and especially as the day is ending and the busyness and what I had to do has finished, I have this silence to reflect, to take in deeper the dances, the words, because this practice is truly profound, and yes, it is simple, and yet it is groovy, yet it is cool, but we have a chance to enter this invisible, I feel for me sometimes like an invisible mountain, because when I went to Everest Base Camp, I know the altitude, and I feel the same thing in the dance. When you just begin the dance and then you deepen and drop and deepen the dance is the same thing as going into the mountain. On our higher and higher altitude, you are submitted to the breath and the movement. And it's such a profound and humbling place, exactly what happens for me in the dance. And yet to come into this space, sometimes it's such a struggle, as we've heard it on the dance floor this morning. And I feel 2 hours is actually not really enough to enter, deeply into that space of alchemy in the dance. Especially if we haven't moved enough, and that resistance is like a crust that just needs loosening. So, as I said in the class, I'm going to be using these reflections and sharings with you to share what I can't speak so much at the end in the circle, yet I would love to continue this conversation about the 5 rhythms and how 5 rhythms can empower our lives. Because what we are doing on the dance floor, it is about our life and our empowerment and our embodiment to take that wherever we go. So, as Gabrielle said in that quote, to embody my emotions and every state that is happening. And what I said in the class this morning, and we heard the feedback of sometimes feeling numb when you come in the dance, sometimes feeling rigid, and sometimes regurgitating the things in your head, whatever they are, the anger, the resentments, this, that, sometimes feeling shy, sometimes feeling that shame, sometimes feeling quite disconnected. And all of these states have expression. And if we were to be creative and playful and wondrous and approach ourselves with that curious innocence, how would this shape itself out? That is the whole point. And maybe that very thing that we struggle with, that very thing that we want to avoid, How would it be just to let it dance, to let it breathe? Maybe by doing so, we will allow it to move through our bodies and hearts. We will feel and sense the taste of whatever that is. And maybe there is some teaching and maybe some understanding, so we can try liberating and unknotting ourselves. So just to reflect and to honor everything that we share. Sometimes like this track that we had this morning, Feeling Good by Faithless. Well, maybe, sometimes we don't feel good when we come on the dance floor. And as you know, there is a permission in the space to come and just be absolutely miserable and shut it down and disconnecting and not to be in the mood of upbeat or happy or social. But on the other hand, it feels good to express that not feeling so great, feeling tired, feeling resentful, feeling disconnected, feeling maybe the sadness, feeling whatever the human feeling and the state is. And especially the feelings that we want to dismiss and shy away from, and things that are difficult for us. Because, feeling good it's something that's acceptable and it's kind of easier to do. But the practice is there to give us portals to find the way to liberate ourselves. So I just want to acknowledge everyone, who came to the class this morning, who comes to the classes, because I am in such mood, seriously, people. I'm 53 now, so I'll be dead probably in 30 odd years. So I've got a few years left. And I have been dancing 5 rhythms for 33 years, teaching for 13. And I said to Thera this morning in the class, that was a warm-up. I'm now serious and committed and passionately ignited to teach this phenomenal practice and really honor Gabrielle Roth's legacy. The woman was extraordinary. And these are the words that I shared this morning. So I'm going to read the whole chapter, and then hopefully it will inspire you, especially as I keep saying to people, dancing at home, it doesn't have to be 7 hours dance. It could be 10, 15, 20 minutes. It could be a track that absolutely turns you on, and then you played it once or twice. Be creative. This is from Gabrielle Roth's book, Maps to Ecstasy. I'm rereading all of her books and reigniting my passion and just absolutely enjoying this dancing teaching path of being 5 rhythms teacher. This is the quote. Our soul, our true self, is the most mysterious, essential and magical dimension of our being. In fact, it is not a separate reality as traditional Western thought views it, but the cohesive force that unites our body, heart and mind. It is not a ghost trapped somehow in the physical machinery of our body, but the very essence of our being. Each soul is unique, and we are called upon to break out of the minimum security prison of conformity and mediocrity to experience our soul's true magic and power. Our soul is naturally shamanic, the source of all healing energy. But like a plant, it needs to be nurtured to grow and blossom, and to be freed from the entangling, obscuring weeds that tend to take over. The soul is an artist. Its nature is to create, and its natural expression is in the sacred archetypal roles of the dancer, the singer, the poet, the actor, and the healer. Life is a cabaret, and our challenge is to act out our essential self on the stage of the world. Though the soul is not a thing, it is our beingness, that which gives us being. So its presence and absence are visible. Its presence manifests in being awake, attentive, energetic, alive. It is the spark of life. It is absent or dampened when we lack vitality, elan, and energy. It is the true self we are seeking in all our exploration, and yet it is not somewhere out there, but right here, now, underneath the false roles we are always casting ourselves in. Freeing the soul, freeing ourselves to be soulful, means empowering ourselves to really see what's going on in ourselves, in others, in our lives. This seeing is not the ordinary sort of looking where we are habituated to. Looking operates on the surface. Seeing probes beneath to discern the essence, the emotion, the energy. Looking is just a matter of regarding things according to our preconceived static ideas. But as the new physics and biology have clearly shown, our surface impression of the nature of reality as a static naively misses the truth of the constant motion and infinite space that truly constitutes reality. And this is what Gabrielle was so passionate about: movement. Everything in this life moves and goes through cycles. And the difference between a live and dead thing is movement. So trusting ourselves to whatever is bubbling underneath us, whatever is bothering us, whatever it is, whatever we name, give it or not. Sometimes it could be just, shape. It can't be always verbalized, but there is a vibration of it. There is energetics of it, and there is expression and the dance of it. So I truly hope that you will practice, even at home. Sometimes whatever you're doing, wherever you are going, scan through your body. Sense, inquire, and feel, how am I? And just give that internal state a little bit of dance, a little bit of expression, so that you intimately get to know your landscapes. Thank you so much for coming to the class this morning. It was absolutely beautiful. And what people share at the end of the circle is such a gem for us evolving through our practice, deepening our compassion and inspiring our creativity. I feel this is the point. Gabriel said to transform our suffering into art. It doesn't say that from our suffering create more suffering and more difficulties and oppression. But how do we transform that which is challenging for us, which makes us suffer and being stuck and being numb? How do we transform that into the expression so that it can liberate us? What is the song of that? What is the poetry of that? And one of the ways we can practice this in real life, and I really dare you actually, as you walk through your days and you engage in conversations, rather than being on that surface level. And if somebody asks how you are, just tell them. If there is ache in the heart, if there is a problem or something, dare to be you. I used to have this policy in my 20s. I think I'm going to bring it back. People would, when they asked me, how am I doing? I would give them a choice. I would say, okay, you asked me a question, but what is it that you truly want to know? Do you want me to tell you what you want to hear, or do you want me to truly tell you how I am? And honestly, quite a few times people says, actually, I really don't want to know. So we have to cut that autopilot functioning in the world and dare to speak our truth and our reality. And maybe that is the sacred art of the day. And practicing those little steps, we become so intimate in getting to know who we truly are. And we are sometimes shy, sometimes bold, sometimes larger than life, and sometimes shriveled into the bowl on the dance floor. Sometimes our shame comes over us. Sometimes our anger takes over us. Sometimes the love and the passion comes through us. And sometimes our greed and our jealousy swallows us. And sometimes we are so judgmental and critical. And sometimes we are deeply compassionate and empathetic. And all of this has a dance. And the beautiful thing is to get to know all of these parts of ourselves. There is the little video, I'm going to have to find it, where Gabriel talks, how would it be to say yes, and accept that we have so many shades of being human. So what a beautiful, beautiful day. And I feel for me as I go into the bed to have this level of peace. I feel every cell of my body is in this unified field of gratitude, deep stillness, and aliveness, and deep passion. And everything is in my skin. And I am here in my body. And I just walked through the garden just before I started recording this, and there was a drizzle of rain over my face, and I felt this life loving me in swoosh. And actually I was barefooted and the ground was wet, and I looked up into the night sky. And I swear to you, you know, I'm 53 as I said, but this wonder, this looking up into the great mystery and the great above. And I have no clue what a lot of the things are about, but I know that my heart and my soul expands in this way because I am present in my body. And I remember in Croatia, as a little girl in my village, looking up at the sky with this wondrous wonder of being alive. And I don't feel I will ever lose this absolute privilege to be alive and to be human. And I know that the 5 rhythms practice has given me this sense of deep rooting and anchoring myself into my body, honoring my life and my story, anchoring myself and rooting myself in the essence of my soul. And that is the most ethereal, intangible thing of myself, but is the most solid and what I trust the most, and why I teach the way I teach. So this practice is beautiful. It gives so much, and the space that we create in the class is of profound, exquisite quality. Sending you so much love. I hope that you read this quote to yourself. I am going to post it in the description below, and as well post the link to the book, because I feel if you are coming to the 5 Rhythms classes and you would love to, and you want to allow this practice to empower more of your life in every area of your life, I feel it's fantastic to read Gabrielle's books. She is